no radio at all. Not even with the bombing plane that's coming over. All radio is dead.
It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
They're going to make you one of the rising up.
All right, well, welcome back to another episode of Horror of the Worlds, where we talk about fucking society today.
Yeah.
You know, but usually we talk about horror movies, but we'll go into a little bit anti-gov today.
The inspiration behind great horror movies, really.
Like,
Nothing's more inspiring than real life.
I honestly, the truth. You know, I mean, usually we try to come up with something a little bit, I guess I would want to say clever, but I never come up with anything clever to say at first. But, you know, it looks like, you know, this is a subject that we are all, you know, take part in. You know, down from the object that you're looking at or listening on to the fucking tape that's holding your fucking drywall together.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it is consumerism. You know, like, so this subject is, it'd be a way too long and way too many episodes to talk about each fraction of what anti-gov or anti-political statement the movie is going to be talking about or making.
Yeah.
Because kind of since the dawn of art, it's always been, you know,
Politics have always played.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, even when you're reading the Bible, it's clear that politics played in some of the writing of that shit. Because back then, if you said something like, oh, the king's a piece of shit, you were going to die. So you had to cleverly hide your truths and things like that in storyboard and messaging.
which is like the exact opposite nowadays. Because I mean, you have Twix and stuff where people just speak. They don't speak their damn mind. They just freaking just speak what they want to create. That's incendiary.
That's true. I heard there was a bunch of backlash from I don't know which party it was, quite frankly, it doesn't matter, on The Boys, because they just realized that some of the references were directly from the things that have been happening in our society as far as politics are concerned, from the BLM movement towards the way certain groups of people are treated in general.
Yeah.
So,
like, things honestly never change. They just take different shapes.
Yep.
I know that kind of says, oh, that's changing. I was like, it's the same fucking thing.
And our society continues to improve or make our movies more enjoyable.
Which that's the thing. I mean, giving society is a great reference to make art.
Yeah.
And I say art as a blanket statement, as movies, like paintings,
Books.
you know, plays, books, what have you. I mean, it is, you know, as much as we need a structure, you know, it's at the same time though, you know, capitalism is so fucking bad and it's all of our faults.
Yep.
Especially mine. You can see in our background, unfortunately, because much like this first movie, They Live, that came out in 1988, directed by John Carpenter.
Things wanted. Why are they here?
You still don't get it, do you, boy?
They have recruited the rich and the powerful.
They're running the whole show.
Wake up! They're all about you, all around you. Blinded us to the truth.
Take a look.
They are safe as long as they are not discovered.
I don't know what they are or where they came from, but we gotta stop them.
Stay away from me.
Put these on.
They have us. Look at them. They're everywhere.
We have no other choice.
I don't like this one bit. Leave it alone, man. It ain't none of my business. Ain't none of yours.
We have been lulled into a trance.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. We're in trouble. The whole world's resets.
I've got one that can see.
Mama don't like tattletale.
Now
Pretty much it says blatantly what everything is. All the fucking marketing, like what, it's a pure 100% consumerism movie that is like a big kind of like open your fucking eyes by putting like shades on.
Oh, it feels like you should watch this one once every summer because it feels like your ads go crazy during the summertime, fresh after Super Bowl and things like that. You know what I mean? You get pumped full of what you should be putting in your homes, under your sinks, or cleaning your counters.
That's the thing too, is like you have the ads and they know it works and they up the prices on all these things, and it's just, I feel like we're almost on a TED Talk.
Almost,
you know,
yeah.
it's our
Sex
fault.
sells perfume. That's just how it goes.
You know, Halloween needs to make their money. Like, you know, they need to make their money, so they have to up the prices on, you know, the licensing fees. And now that our products that we want to buy, that's Halloween 3 related, are all of a sudden even more money because they have the licensing goes up, and it's just because they want more fucking money. Just instead of just not give it to us, let us earn it. but not fucking break the fucking bank.
Right.
That needs to be bailed out again. But all right, let's go into the quick synopsis of this movie, because we kind of started off running on this episode already, because we were just that in love with society. Yeah.
Society.
But Nada, played by Roddy Piper, which is actually I enjoy his acting to begin with.
He's a badass.
Yeah. A wanderer without meaning in his life discovers a pair of sunglasses capable of showing the world the way it truly is. As he walks the streets of Los Angeles, Nada notices that both the media and the government are comprised of subliminal messages meant to keep the population subdued, and the most of the social elite are skull-faced aliens bent on world domination. With this shocking discovery, Nada fights to free humanity from the mind-controlling aliens. That is pretty fucking spot on, and this movie still needs to be seen. It is a long, slow burn of a movie, so don't expect like an action-packed movie to begin with. Like, it is not that movie, and I do encourage anyone to just sit down, watch it, especially if you're anti-capitalism or if you kind of lean towards that way a little bit.
Really,
I mean,
just being,
I consume like a motherfucker.
I
So.
want the government to be less involved in my day-to-day life. That kind of statement in general, you're gonna enjoy this movie. For some reason, it slightly reminded me of a Clockwork Orange in a way when I watched it, because it was the whole "this is the way I view society, but this is the way society actually is" kind of thing, and the whole brainwashing or being told one thing and actually seeing another. You know, that whole the misleading thing that
This is the way that we
tends
want
to
you
do.
to see it.
Yeah,
like this is the way it is, but it really isn't.
That perception
And
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, much like what this just said, like you do kind of end up following Rowdy Piper's, story throughout this. You end up following him, but it also has, if you watch Rick and Morty, he's a fucking president. And
He's a fucking president.
Also, I think he's a reverse giraffe as well. But Keith David.
One of my favorite characters he did. I want to say he was a character in one of the Call of Duty Zombies.
I want to say so as well. Like he is almost because he has that low baritone voice.
His voice is
So I mean, he is another amazing actor, but
and the things like that. Like he's always been a fucking character worth watching in my opinion. Every time I see him on screen,
he's one of John Carpenter's boys. It kind of seems like
Yeah.
him and Russell Crowe.
Yeah,
and stuff like where they're just kind of almost in every one of John Carpenter's movies, and some of the movies that get kind of shat upon don't have one of those two actors in it.
Yeah,
normally it kind of seems like it. I mean, but yeah, no, this movie is. I really find it enjoyable because. Once when you start looking at how the government and how ads and how all these companies are actually trying to brainwash. God damn, dude. I
spoon feed you bullshit and lies.
That's the thing. I don't want to sound like so like this is bad. This is bad. And it's like, but I guess it kind of is. I mean, like right now we're playing aggressive anarchist, but at the same time though, I understand the need for all of this. But it's just like.
Do what you want to do, but don't go out and buy Burger King because you watched 6 different Burger King commercials today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but because it's
you
okay.
actually want to.
Yeah.
little free thinking going on. And that's what it feels like this is speaking against, is people that are trying to take away your freedom of thought or decision making.
Yeah, so
first
off, I guess if you made it this far, I am going to be speaking kind of aggressively towards the government for the most part, and try not to apologize every time I say something that's like, oh well, this I don't really give a fuck. Right. It's like I understand, we all understand what our needs are. I don't want to be repeating myself every movie.
Well, with that being said, my favorite part in this movie is where Rowdy comes completely fucking unhinged and starts cleaning house, bro.
Well, that's the thing. Like when he does, when he tries to get Keith David to actually start seeing, like all the stuff, all the hidden. We got one that we could see, or as if I can't remember it right now. But they have a freaking wrestling match and stuff, and John Carpenter had no idea how to shoot the thing. Like Rowdy Piper ended up, showing him like, oh, this is the angle you got to take and stuff. How to do some of these wrestling moves, and he taught Keith David how to take a fake punch, or to take a punch, a pulled punch. Yeah. and make it look all believable. I mean, you got this fucking fight scene. I think is like 10, 15 minutes fucking long. I get it so drawn out, but yes, it is. He does go unhinged and stuff, and I think one of the great things about it too is after wearing these sunglasses and seeing all the propaganda and all the messages that are out there for how it truly is, he has to take his eyes off, like his sunglasses off, and just rub his eyes because they hurt.
Right.
It's like once when you actually start seeing the light, you're staring at light.
It's
like
exhausting.
it hurts. You know, it's so that's one of the reasons I really do enjoy this movie, because it kind of, as much as I don't listen to myself and not buy things to kind of, because our dollar is our loudest voice. It really is. I'm almost.
I feel like it's a good reminder to look around, take a breath, and actually do some thinking and not just impulse. Don't act upon impulse all the time.
Yeah, just,
but
it's,
with that
it's
being
kind of
said,
nice being aware of
when
what
he got
they actually...
impulsive and started fucking plugging people, that was fucking fantastic. I'm here to chew bubble gum and kick ass.
Oh, I mean, like when he's actually saying like he does fight back, and that's like what Steven just said. Like that is like the common saying that a lot of people have heard. They have no idea where that saying came from. Like,
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Yeah.
great fucking line, just fucking perfection.
Said with what was it like? It was almost a mullet. Either way, spot on.
Mullets are back.
Yeah,
people freaking love them nowadays.
Shotgun.
Hits the nail on the head. Like, it is a consumerism movie. It talks about that. The story is like really enthralling. Like, as slow as it is, like I said, you do end up following someone whose eyes have been opened, and you know, the higher ups, the aliens, are out to try to stop them from actually spreading the word, because there is also another pocket of a society or whatever that has opened their eyes as well, which is how he found the sunglasses.
Well, yeah, it was an accidental finding, not something he was supposed to have had.
Yeah, which is how this podcast has been found by secret, and you guys have now seen the light. Obey.
Obey.
And not the Andre the Giant obey sign, which a lot of people don't know about that one. That the obey with the face.
Yeah, that is.
They don't know that's Andre the Giant.
Yeah, that's undoubtedly him.
At least you learned something new if you already knew about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Guarantee you almost don't know about that one. But
regardless of how you feel about government, it's a good watch overall. It was fun for me. I didn't watch it with any expectations when I first saw it. I was just like, a Carpenter film. Mm-hmm. Let's fucking go. You know, I had watched The Thing, and I absolutely loved everything I saw there. And then I watched this. I enjoyed every bit of it. So, regardless of your political views, it's a good one.
Which I guess that's one of the things too. If you're coming into this movie thinking it's going to be a John Carpenter, The Thing type movie, or like an action-packed, like, it is not a, you know,
it's
not
story
that kind of movie.
driven.
It is very story driven.
It's far more along the lines of Twilight Zone or Black Mirror than it is a typical John Carpenter horror film or any real horror film for the most part.
But also better than Prince of Darkness.
Yeah.
At least this movie makes a little bit more sense than that movie does.
Absolutely.
But you know what movie actually makes good sense and talks about, I don't know, it's kind of the same thing, but also how bad. You brought up Burger King. As good as Burger King can taste for some people, I do prefer Burger King over McDonald's. You know,
you're a monster.
I am a monster. I am okay with that. But is the stuff.
New day sensation, light and free now. Gives you elevation. Enough is never enough. Enough is never enough of the stuff.
The stuff, the taste that makes you hungry for more. The stuff, taste that delivers.
Enough is never enough.
We interrupt this presentation with the following urgent message.
Tonight, America is in grave danger. We are under alien attack.
The stuff. Everybody loves the taste of stuff.
Yes. Like, this movie, This movie's kind of hated, and I feel like it's a gem. I actually really enjoy this movie. It could be as a ripoff as The Blob, but I hear a lot of people like, oh, the story's garbage. You know, nothing makes sense.
I feel like it was a little rushed because the whole thing is these guys find some shit oozing out of the ground and they go, you know what? I'm gonna instinctually put this in my mouth. It tastes pretty good. Let's package it up. People will buy this garbage from us.
That's one thing I love. That's the beginning of the movie. Is they're out in the snow and this white stuff is bubbling out of the earth.
Bro, it looks like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man jizz just oozing out of the snow ground in the middle of, I don't know, Alaska.
I don't think I've ever seen anything on the ground and like, I want to put my fingers in it.
Yeah.
And then
go,
put it in
I
my
want
mouth.
to taste it. Yeah.
So that's just that first scene kind of tells you how crazy this movie's going to be. Not crazy in a fucking, oh my God, crazy. Just crazy as like, oh, this is where we're going. So this is a Larry Cohen movie. As well, directed by and written by, if I'm not mistaken. But so the blunt premise of this movie is how consuming products was damaging to your health.
Damaging to your health.
You
Well,
know, like
I feel like
blatantly.
it's hard to tell. I feel like there's so many messages that this one was trying to give out. It's more like look into what you're putting into your body more than anything, because this stuff in the end makes you a fucking zombie. It tastes great.
Oh yeah,
but it's got a stupefaction factor of 1,000,000, right? So
I think there's so much to talk about, like in this movie too, where you have a private detective. So I mean, like the short little synopsis is: a private detective investigates a new consumer taste treat that's absolutely delicious and just possibly lethal. That synopsis doesn't give you anything that you need for this movie. It is what you consume consumes you, quite literally. So I mean. During the 80s, it really did kind of pick up like in the 80s and 70s, like whereas America, we started buying products like a motherfucker. That's, you know,
and
they
punk rock had never been more alive than it was in the 80s when these movies came out.
Like that, true. Like, it's because we started buying more products. You know, we were just trying to consume quite literally, and we made movies. We made art off of this. And like there was. Much like it is like kind of recent too. So this stuff, like a lot of it was influenced off of like the FDA and other companies actually pulling products because they realize how damaging it is for you, like, and actually how unhealthy or, you know, leaks, you know, they not E. coli, but, you know, some of those fucking diseases that are coming from your food, which that's what the big premise is. Like I said, what you consume consumes you. Because in this movie, you start eating this stuff and it is ads everywhere. You can't escape this stuff.
Yeah, it had it felt like a strong drug reference. Like the addiction. You're sitting there talking to a cop, and the cop pulled these guys over, and they're like, I'm sorry, but you know, you go too long without eating stuff, and you just have to have more. And they go to the back of the truck and start trying to eat it out the fucking tank.
Yeah. I'm gonna be kind of going all around this movie too. Like I wish I was this little kid because I felt like he had so much fun in it. At least like when he starts going crazy about the stuff, when he goes into the grocery store, just like starts knocks a container out of stuff out of this kid's hands. Mother freaks out, but he's going around and starts banging all the stuff containers out of the freaking like the dairy coolers and all this stuff. It looked like so much fun. What we all want to do when we see that display at a grocery store, it's like, how much fun would that be to destroy it?
Tackle that? Yeah, right.
Like, you got the chance to do that, man. Like, that's freaking awesome. But it's the movie does get kind of loose near the ending because
it felt like they rushed through the ending, or they tried to extend something that wasn't originally there.
Yeah, I could definitely say like more like rewrites, or I don't know the trouble that they had during the making of this movie. Like there was more fluff. And it kind of seems like stuff that didn't need to be in there, or if it was in there sooner, things would have made more sense.
It's ironic for the kind of thing that was being sold in the movie. But it was as soon as they meet the sergeant or whatever, the military official, it feels like it just kind of just passed on real quick. And one of the most famous scenes in the movie happens during that time, the one on Curtis's shirt there. The dude just fucking melts, and I felt like that was one of the coolest things. That scene reminded me of John Carpenter's The Thing, the extension of the mouth, the melting of the flesh, and all that stuff. It was really cool
because it was pretty much when you were eating it, you were putting it was a living being inside your body, and I always kind of not linked it, but some of the scenes that look like a tapeworm. Like I always seen those images of like when people open up the mouth, they have a tapeworm, and they can see like in the back of their throat. It's fucking creepy. But that's what I kind of felt like in this movie. Like when people were infected with this stuff, it would just kind of come out and infect.
Yeah.
This movie goes fucking crazy.
Yep. Sit down, make some Rice Krispie treats, and go ahead and watch this one, because that's what it reminds me of. Is the marshmallow fluff.
You ever? You ever get like that completely random fucking thing? Because when you said Rice Krispie treats, you ever get the freaking bowl, just a bowl, and you throw marshmallows in it and Rice Krispies and throw it in the microwave? Throw some butter in it and just microwave it that way.
No,
and just eat it. That's
a great idea, though. That's the lazy man's Rice Krispie treats right there.
I was brought up on that shit. Like we used to do that. We used to do that. Just throw it in the microwave and just.
It's a shortcut.
It was so good because it was still warm and just like it was just so fucking good. But you had to put that butter so it didn't stick to the bowl.
Absolutely,
and all that.
Yeah.
Oh man, this stuff was so good. Gosh damn. But you know, I mean, that's the thing. Like when you have all these consuming products that we can't help but be enticed by, you know, just. Like if we fall in love with it or not, you know, it leads into people that are just kind of born into, you know, that lifestyle. Yeah. The ones that kind of control all this stuff, you know, like much like the society.
For Bill Whitney,
I've never been paranoid.
Fear plays a large part in family life.
I feel like something's gonna happen, and if I scratch the surface, there'll be something terrible underneath.
He's afraid his sister...
Could you zip me up, Billy?
...is not what she seems.
God, Bill, what's the matter with you?
Which is directed by Brian Yuzna, which is, if you're familiar with that name, he's done also quite a bit of like H.P. Lovecraft movies. Like he's directed a couple, he's written a couple.
From Beyond?
He's done, I want to say he wrote From Beyond and also... oh gosh, I think like From Beyond, some of the like the Bride of Reanimator or something like that as well. He's also wrote one of my favorite Return of the Living Dead, which is Return of the Living Dead 3.
Oh,
the one with like the sexy chick that's all piercings and all that stuff. So, but I feel like if you're a fan of these 80s films, you came across his name. You know, if it's not directed by, it's written by, or
this one was fun with a lot of body gore, I guess.
It's more body horror than body horror is like on the main surface of this movie.
Was like body horror and like Cronenbergian kind of like morphing and shit like that. And it's clearly a classism movie.
Yeah.
But it's the way it was just portrayed. I felt like you went a good long bit of a way through the movie before you started seeing the action. It was a lot of, we have suspicion of this activity, and then when you finally see it, shit hits the fan so hard.
Well,
it goes from 0 to like 1,000.
That's the thing about this movie too, is what the synopsis is: a California's teen's worst nightmares about his parents come true when he returns home to find a grotesque party in full swing. That is like what happens at the end of the movie. Like quite literally, like the last 15 minutes of the movie.
That barely scratches the surface of what the fuck's going on at that party, dude.
Because that's the thing. Like when it comes to this hierarchy, I don't want to say hierarchy. This part of society is, you know, like you kind of. There's a lot of incest. There's a lot of like, once when you're part of the society, you're part of it. You can't leave it.
Oh, this reminds me of like old royalty. It's like we keep this shit in the family kind of thing. It's like, God.
Honestly,
damn.
I just lost what I was gonna say. But yes, no. But that's exactly it. Like it reminded me of the kings and queens and stuff. Like we be married brothers, or like they had the incest bullshit. You know, the ones that just kind of fucked up their genetics.
Yeah.
You know, or like cousins marrying cousins and all that stuff. That's what.
Quite a few steps beyond that, but yeah, it was
there. So this movie. I as much as I do enjoy this movie, I'm not a huge fan of this movie.
Really?
Yes. So, I do recommend this movie. I actually do recommend it because it is not a bad movie, but it's so slow. Like, and there's like, it just feels like there's like, you're just waiting through this hour of story just to get
it. I feel
to
like
get to the shunting.
The shunting. Let the shunting begin. And they definitely only hinted at it for a good amount of that time. You're right. It wasn't a hard enough glimpse. It even made you want to rewind and double check. Like, was that him acting, or was that both of us seeing the same shit and it being ripped off the screen? So,
like, there are a lot of creepy scenes in this movie, or a lot. Actually, I don't want to say creepy, just a lot of odd, because you have the sister, like, he walked into his sister showering and stuff, and you know, the great 80s shower scene where you have her showering pretty much right up on the glass, but she's,
why are her tits and ass on the same side of her body?
yeah,
like,
and he has that same puzzle look, like, what am I seeing? But it's just like, that's kind of what this movie is. Like, you kind of question yourself on, like, is this, you go with it.
You don't question too much. You
go on the trip with him.
Yeah.
'Cause much of what you're thinking of what's happening is what he's doing. Like, he's like, what the fuck am I actually seeing? Is this real?
Right.
And later on, it just gets so fucking crazy when he starts unraveling this movie.
The shunting scene, which,
Oh,
you know,
man.
when you look up the definition,
Beautiful.
it is not what they fucking depict. Shunting is like a shove, or it's also an electrical term, but it was not necessarily a bunch of people making a morph orgy.
I could, because I think they
In the
brought
middle
up
of the
that you actually
floor.
need to bring up your body temperature, because first you need to have sex with someone that of your same age before you could shunt, and in order, like, you need to rise your body temperature in order to start melting together, which like, you're forcing and fisting each other, which there is a lot of fucking fisting.
So much fisting. So much fisting. It was impressive with the amount of fun this guy probably had making these scenes. What is it?
Screaming Mad George.
Screaming Mad George, this bad son of a bitch, dude.
I felt so bad for everyone that was part of that shunting scene, because you gotta think, this is the day and age where
so hot. The number one word for this movie, other than shunt, would be moist. That describes a good half.
There's like so much KNY and all this stuff, but that's, you gotta think, like, when people were, like, when they were glued together, because, you know, prosthetics had to be glued to people.
Right.
You were stuck in that position until that scene was fucking over. And
Oh,
it was
yeah,
uncomfortable.
don't move.
Like, I just feel so bad for the actors that had to be part of the shunting.
Yeah.
You know, and it's that's
Their
the thing, like, this
sacrifice
movie
will live on forever in film.
It will. And unfortunately, this movie is one of the ones that kind of I feel like gets lost, especially if you're not into horror movies at all.
So I get where you're coming from as far as it being too slow. I'm not one with the best attention span for movies, but this one, for some reason, every time I was like ready to walk away and grab a snack or something like that, it found a way to pull me back in.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right, that delivery, it felt like you were waiting way too long for that delivery. But when they finally deliver, holy shit.
They do a good job
like,
delivering.
Yeah,
like, you don't feel like, God damn, I wasted my time. It's like, all right, that was worth it, but I mean,
I feel like it's still worth owning. Like, I mean, and that's
consume,
obey. Take this one in. Really, like it right now, you can find this one on Prime. That's where I found it. I think it was on Shudder in particular. So if you got Shudder, you can watch this one for free.
I think it's
or
still
for
on there,
whatever the
but
fuck you're buying Shudder for.
Like, if you're not okay with body horror, like, it's not that gross, bloody.
No,
you know,
this
that,
is
that
like
weird body horror. It is like,
this is an unnatural, grotesque kind of body
Yeah.
horror, which is why Cronenberg would have stood up and clapped for this one. It feels like it was very odd.
So, like, I don't want to deter people where it's like, oh, that sounds creepy. I was like, it's disgusting.
Yep.
Right.
Body parts where other body parts should be.
Shouldn't be. Like, there's a butt. Like, I swear. Like,
Butthead, yes, butthead. From ass to mouth fisting, that was fantastic.
I think that he did that
so much
twice too.
No, I swear one was through a.
No, I want to say they did it twice.
One was through a penis. I want to say one of them had something to do with a fucking. I don't know. I can't. There was so many body parts, so much flesh, so much moisture in that one scene.
Oh man, he just felt gross. Like, this is not a movie to watch. At least that end scene during the summer when you're already feeling hot and sweaty.
Oh yeah, man.
You're just gonna watch that scene and it's just like, oh my
like,
god.
I need to take a shower. This is horrible.
Yeah, like you just start sweating because you're watching this. Like it's, which makes it a great movie because not many people feel that way after a movie. They don't feel disgusted with themselves if you're into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, regardless of what you feel after our description, go ahead and watch it. You might enjoy it.
But after that, lovely shunting explanation of all this stuff, we're going into a movie that is relatively new, that came out in like 2019. I enjoy it for quite a few different reasons because it is so blatant and on the nose, and it's also a foreign film too, if I'm not mistaken. Like the original language is Spanish, but it's called The Platform.
Los de abajo, los que caen. El hoyo. Sí, el hoyo.
¿Y usted sabe en qué consiste esto del hoyo?
Obvio. Comer.
¿Qué vamos a comer?
Lo que le sobra a los de arriba.
Gardner has two. Oh my! I am so sorry, man. Yeah. So I'm gonna probably, I'm not gonna attempt to butcher the director's name. I will have it here on the screen. If you listen to us, just look up The Platform. It's streaming on that expensive streaming service that you probably do have. I just don't want to give them any more fucking credit than they already fucking get because they don't release physical media and I can't consume. No, all right. So I really enjoy this movie because first off, it is, I want to say, is filmed on one room. Like there are some cut scenes that are filmed like in a different room and all that stuff, but I really enjoy single room horror movies, because it is that claustrophobic that you could get. If you've seen any of the Cube movies, think of it as the Cube.
I get it. It feels a little bit more involving. You didn't feel like you missed anything when you're watching it.
Like that, even Dave Made a Maze. It's when you learn how that movie's made, it is kind of like a single room where they just kind of move boxes and stuff around to make it look like they were in a different room. Fucking ingenious. Like that's just pure creativity. I love that in movies. But so this one, like you are stuck in I guess agree to go into this room that's on a platform, and you can see you're in a cube where you can see down to many different levels from people below you, and a hole up in the ceiling where you can see people above you, and you're stuck between you and your, say, roommate, cellmate. Actually, hold on, let me just give a quick synopsis before I do more. In a prison where inmates are fed on a descending platform, those on the upper levels take more than their fair share, while those below are left to starve on scraps. And one man decides to change the system.
Ooh, fight the system.
Like that's kind of like the thing in this movie is, like I said, it's really blunt and on the nose because at first they say it's like about 250 floors. Like, okay, 250 floors. But the people on the first floor get this platform of just glorious, like perfection food. I mean, like gourmet is like McDonald's, let's just say that. So it goes down from the floor and they have a couple minutes to eat as much as they can. It goes down to the next floor. They eat as much as they can. And as it said, as it descends, there's less and less food, so there are times that you wake up and you're on floor 22, so you have a good chance of getting some food, some wine and all this stuff. But then after a month, I think it's every month, they knock you out. You stay with your roommate, cellmate, but you're on a different floor. So when you wake up, you could be on floor 2, or you could be on floor 150.
Oh shit!
Stuff. So you have all the ideas that everyone would kind of think of is, asking the people above you, like, hey, like, save some food for us. It's like, no, they're not going to listen to you because they're above you.
Right.
And stuff. And those people as well have possibly been on the bottom. So now they're hungry because they've been on level 150. Now they're on level 30. You know,
Yeah.
so they're just going to consume even more because they know how shitty it is being on the bottom.
Fucking gluttony.
That's exactly it. There is so much glut in this movie because that's how consumerism and classism is. Like, even if you're from the bottom and you move up, you still shit on the bottom because you suffered while you're on the bottom. So now it's time for them to suffer.
You don't want to be there. Yeah.
You
So
know?
fuck them. I was.
And then
there.
there's someone
I
above
made
you
it.
even still.
Yeah.
And like that's the whole premise of this movie is the whole gluttony. You know, you don't want to work together. You get what you feel like you deserve and you earn. You know, because how hard you work, it doesn't matter how hard you work. It's just where you're at now and stuff, and you consume and you think of yourself. That's how we are. You know, we don't give people. A lot of us don't give money to people on the side of the street or whatever when they're begging for it because. You know, we hear the stories on the news because they want to feed fear. Like, oh, some of these homeless people are actually driving Mercedes and they actually have a home and this is their job. They go in the corner.
Go out and buy crack.
Or that, you know, which I'm more prone to give people money if they're holding out a sign and saying, need money for beer.
Yeah.
Don't fucking lie to me. Like, tell me the truth.
I got a beer, bro, here.
Yeah, like, there is a scene, like, on one of my favorite movies, like, I genuinely, like, one of my favorite 5 movies, when we're talking about a whole is Interstate 60.
All right.
Stuff. There is a part where, oh gosh, I can't remember the actor's name at the moment. He's very political and stuff, and people hate him because of that. So they pull up to a gas station, and the guy says, "We'll work for food," you know. So he hands him an apple, and he's like, "All right, clean my windshield." And he's like, "I'm not cleaning your windshield for an apple." I was like, your sign says we'll work for food. Here's food. There's job. You know, clean my windshield. And the guy gets all upset, and there's like a huge, like somewhat of a huge fight that breaks out. But it's say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know where I was going on from that, but in this movie, like they describe it as a vertical self-management center. So it's not a prison.
Vertical self-management center.
I love that name of it. And that's the thing. Like a lot of this, like people go here willingly. Like it's either I should say almost willingly, where it's either like they have a choice between prison or this, or they get I think it's a certain
Is this prison system different? What? Holy shit!
Like, there are so many things that go on in this movie, and I don't want to ruin it. I really recommend people watching it and stuff.
Well, it's on my watch list, so I'm gonna have to definitely watch.
Especially with it being a relatively newer movie. I mean, it's
not going anywhere
5
too quickly.
Yeah, it shouldn't go anywhere since it's on that expensive streaming service. Because they pretty much keep a lot of their movies that they make on their streaming service. I don't know many of them that they actually get rid of, or if they cycle it or whatever. Much like Shudder, I think they keep all their movies on. I'm more okay saying Shudder than anyone else, but I want to say they keep pretty much all their segments that they've done themselves online or on their streaming service, which, you know,
fair enough.
Go streaming services that do that. Kind of like one of the things is, I guess, when I'm talking about this movie is, honestly, what he ends up asking is the same thing that I ended up thinking about doing to begin with. Was asking the people above, like, hey, could you just eat less food so we could get some food, you know, and just have the people up there and just continue on. And the old guy that he's with at first was just asked, like, what, are you a communist?
What are you, a commie?
I guess. So I'm like shit, I guess, is that, I didn't really realize, like, what I want. I guess I would be considered a commie because, I mean, it's like, I'm not saying that we should all be equals, but just be fucking considerate of one another.
Right. No, absolutely.
I don't think that's...
I'm not... don't buy food just to throw it on the side of the road. What are you, a commie? Like, whoa, no, I'm just not an asshole.
Yeah, just eat your portions, eat your rations. Like, and that's one of the things about this movie as well, is as the story progresses, is you find out, they ask you a question like, what is your favorite food? So all the food that's on this platform is someone's favorite food. Not saying that they should get their favorite food, but there's enough food for you there that you need, that you want, right? Because they made it for you.
Do they switch that out often? Because I can only imagine somebody's favorite food being sushi. You know what I mean? Honestly, it's like there's a deadline on that shit, bro.
Well, this happens kind of quickly, but I'm pretty sure that sushi gets eaten up pretty quickly.
Like
there was, like his food of choice was escargot.
Oh,
snails.
Fuck, man, you're torture.
Oh man, I've had escargot and I
wouldn't want to fill up on that.
Like same with caviar, not worth the hype. Granted, it was on a plastic spoon and not a bone spoon or whatever the fuck.
Whatever.
Fancy. I used to be a cook, okay? I almost like with what I said in the very beginning of the podcast. You know, it's like I do partake in consumerism because I like my products. It's just I wish, like all of us wish, that these higher ups, you know, took a pay cut, you know, just so they didn't have to charge $5 for a simple burger or charge however much money it is for a licensing fee for a fucking action figure.
Or maybe take away all of our physical media so that you could just overprice your fucking streaming services and make us pay that bullshit.
I mean, like somewhat recently, like almost all DVD, like Blu-rays, have gone up from like $20 to $24.
$40 for certain movies, man.
Like the last thing. All right, I horror problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I remember like the beginning of COVID. They were saying that Blu-rays were going to be going up in price, or their physical media was going to stop because the same plastic that they needed, that was being used to make the Blu-ray discs, are the same plastic that they use for the COVID vaccines. I can't remember if it was Pfizer or whatever. This is kind of dating it. So this is 2020 we're talking about. But they didn't pick up the market again. And they say like, physical media is dying. It's like, it's dying because you're not making it anymore.
Right.
You know, of course, if you don't feed what we want, you know, it's going to fucking die. And then you have all these other, like Scream Factory or Umbrella, that are putting out all these collector's editions for prices that shouldn't go up this high because it's already going to go up in price when you when people are putting on eBay.
Yeah.
Like,
It's controlling the supply to make more demand. It's fucking hand over fist with cash. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. Oh no, it's just I get annoyed with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Very uplifting episode. Yes, I know.
Yay!
I completely understand if you did not make it to the end of this episode. In all reality, like it is hard to hear someone bitch about some of this stuff. Like these movies are great.
Regardless,
you know,
these movies need to be watched.
Yeah.
Especially Society. You know, that one definitely, it was a pleasant surprise for me.
That's the thing. Out of these movies, I don't know what I could choose.
I do. I just did.
I know you just chose.
Society. I mean, I guess They Live is like it's a cult classic.
Honestly, if I had to put these four in an order, it'd probably be The Stuff, They Live, The Platform, and then